Hello, Wayfarers, and welcome to another episode of Homebrew Labs, the show where we take random prompts and create original content for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. I am your host, Badger Fallaize. With me, as always, is our illustrious illustrator, Sarah, and today's special guest, Feargus.
Hello.
Hey, Feargus, glad to have you back on the show.
Good to be back.
Yeah. So today we are doing another episode of Founding a Settlement, and we will be creating a brand new fantasy settlement to inhabit the world of Anua, the official Wayfarers League homeworld, and something that you can potentially also take and use in your own campaigns as well. In order to do that, though, we need to start with some prompts. So we are going to bring out the Hat of Randomness, and the first thing we are going to determine is the size of the settlement that we shall be creating. And so today we shall be creating, we did that one last time, so let's try something a bit different. Nope, I picked the same thing out again.
Just take it out. Take it out.
I should take it out of the thing, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Let's take that out. Let's take that out of the hat. We want to mix things up. We want to do something a bit more different. Today, just a humble village.
Fair enough.
We're creating a nice and humble village, but we need a bit more of a starting point. So the next thing we're going to determine is what sort of terrain that village is going to be built upon. So this time, our village is going to be in the middle of a desert. We're creating a desert village. This is starting to feel very Minecraft all of a sudden.
Cool.
But
A desert village. Interesting.
yeah, this would be very interesting. But we do need one last thing, which is just a fun little personality quirk for this village. Something that makes it distinct and interesting. And this village... this village is villainous.
Villainous.
A
that's
villainous desert village.
All right. Well, that's fun. Okay.
Indeed. So this would be quite... That would be quite interesting. So, do away with the Hat of Randomness for now. So, a villainous... Villainous... It's so hard to say.
Villainous desert village.
Okay.
Got to do my tongue twister exercise.
Try saying that 3 times fast. Villainous desert village. No.
Yeah.
No.
You can't do it. Villainous desert village. It's, oh my goodness, I'm going back to my college years and having to do tongue twisters in classes. You can still do a few of those. But let's have a think. So, specifically a villainous village, a village where a lot of villainy happens.
That's funny. I did a quick Google search for desert village, and half of them are Minecraft.
Yep.
Yeah.
Surprised in the slightest.
I mean that could be it. We could just make a Minecraft village and knock off.
No.
No, I know. They're just joking.
All of the residents of the village just go meh every time you walk up to them.
They all have those very twirly mustaches and they're
Excuse me. So this is going to be kind of an interesting thought: is what makes this village villainous?
Yeah.
Is it a village that is ruled over by a villain, or is it a village where a lot of villainy happens, sort of like the Mos Eisley on Tatooine style thing, where there's just a lot of smugglers and bounty hunters and criminal mercenaries that work there. What are we thinking, Fergus?
Well, I'm imagining the moment you said a villainous desert village, my first thought, can't speak tonight, was a village full of, or that is home to a bounty hunter guild set around an oasis or something.
Oh, interesting. I kind of like that. So it kind of feels a bit like A bit like, you know, that bar in Deadpool.
Yeah. Very much like that.
Like that, but for a whole village.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And
I
and
like
then
it.
I was thinking, like, if you're setting a village in an oasis in a desert, like
Well, I will say that Oasis is actually one of the options in the random generator as well.
well, then ignore the oasis if it's an option in the random generator hat.
Yeah. So this is a specifically like in the desert village, and so that we'll start from that point. Is there is like a bounty office / criminal mercenary ring that kind of are the center of this village. And so everything around it, all of the surrounding lands and all of the village that surrounds it, all kind of work to serve this particular organization.
Yeah.
Which would be kind of cool. So I think the big central feature then really would be like, and I know you're saying like bounty office, but I really just feel like it would like that Deadpool bar where
it's just a
tavern.
bar.
Yeah. It's like the central feature is a tavern where people can go and they can take contracts for that. So that's kind of like the central hub. Is we're going to have this big tavern where all of the kind of shady dealings go on. And then we also kind of need a transport hub because obviously it's in a desert. There's not going to be a huge amount nearby. So these criminal mercenaries built this place here because it was a really safe place away from law enforcement. There are no law enforcements in that particular region because it's a desert and no one ever thought to like go there. But they need to be able to obviously travel to and from that area to places where contracts can actually be fulfilled.
I've got too many ideas now.
I love it. Let's hit.
Well, one of them is that you could have a fairly nondescript looking beetle building, sorry, but at the back the transport hub is giant sand beetles that carry people around. Because I like the idea of giant sand beetles.
So giant sand beetles traveling. I love it. Carrying these kind of mercenaries around.
Or you have like underground tunnels that were built by like sandworms that the organization is kind of like taken over and is using for their own sort of shady dealings, like smuggling and things of that nature.
Nice.
I'm leaning more towards the giant beetles because the image of.
I love the giant beetles. Also, because the last town that we built, the port town. Also, we did a lot with like underground tunnels and stuff in that one. So I feel, I'm really liking the idea of these kind of like giant sand beetles that are used as transport to get people in and out of the village. I 100% love that. So it kind of makes me think of the Martians from Futurama.
Yes.
Where they have
the Bugalo.
Bugalo. the
and they are just
in the Bugalo, and they just fly everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I kind of like that. All right, cool. So that's like a really great. I think that's perfect for the kind of transport hub on this, because obviously you have giant beetles that can also potentially fly. So I think so that's probably the next big feature of this village, right? Is the farm where those are raised and grown.
Yeah.
So giant sand beetles. So we're going to have like a ranch on this particular settlement. And the ranch will be the place where they raise and grow these giant sand beetles for use as transportation. Nice. I really love that. So let's let's kind of start talking specifics, because honestly, this whole village can just be built around that. It's built around the tavern where all these criminal mercenary jobs are posted that people can take. I also have the idea that like there's a lot of gambling that happens there. That they have something akin to the Deadpool, where they like bet
Yeah.
on which mercenaries are going to die first.
Yeah.
And then having on top of, and then having adjacent to that the transport hub of the sand beetles, along with a ranch where those are kept and grown. So yeah, I think that really is all it needs to be for a village. Is that. So let's kind of go into some specifics here. So we've got this tavern as kind of like the central feature. Everything kind of revolved around the tavern. So I'm thinking it needs to be something fairly sizable, something that's got enough that it can like accommodate all these people, because they're probably also going to be like resting there and spending the night there, and even just laying low there whilst they kind of wait for the heat to die down on whatever their last job was. So
it could be one of those. It could be a tavern where you have the main tavern building where they serve food and drinks and things, and maybe that has a second floor with a few rooms. But then the village itself is made up of little huts and
I was
things
thinking
that are
the same thing.
the
Yeah.
rooms and buildings of the tavern.
Okay, so yeah, absolutely. So we've got the central tavern is the bar and hub for criminal mercenaries. And then individual huts surround the area, all owned by the tavern. And where people can rest and lay low as the heat dies down from previous jobs.
Yeah.
Nice. So now it's going to be the question is, who runs this tavern? Because it's going to be like an actual person who actually kind of runs this, and I feel like maybe it would be like an old mercenary himself or herself.
Yeah.
Like someone who used to be in the game but isn't anymore, and they've.
I like the idea that the person that runs the tavern is also like the kind of unofficial mayor of the town.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and they're kind of not really seen unless there's trouble that needs sorting out, and that they have people that like front the bars and things. So yeah, I think they have staff.
They have a staff that like help at the actual tavern and do some of the work that they don't have time to do, but they kind of run the whole show.
Yeah.
So let's actually kind of create this this person, the owner.
I like the idea that they are an old like mercenary stroke bounty hunter. I think that
yes,
that yeah.
100% agreed. So the owner of this place is going to be let's have a look. So we've can always go to one of my favorite websites, which is npcgenerator.com. And if you are a GM, that's a really good website to go to if you're like wanting to come up with some quick NPCs, because it gives you a lot of information that you can use. So the first thing that came up was a Dragonborn, but I know that in a newer, Dragonborns in particular are quite rare. So might be worth maybe doing something a bit different than a Dragonborn. I'm just going to keep clicking randomize until I see something that looks kind of interesting. Yeah, a lot of humans and half elves. I think that's the first thing, is just kind of determining what race would the person be.
I like halfling because I think the fact that you expect the owner of this town and bar to be some hardened bounty hunter who's like old and grizzled, and you get to see them, and it's just this little halfling with like a scar across their eye, and they're just like
I put in halfling into the npcgenerator.com, and the first name it came up with, which I think is kind of perfect, is Falco.
yes,
It
Falco.
sounds like a fucking crime lord, right?
Yeah. Falco sounds like somebody that like they say they're in removals, and like that's code for this guy murders people.
Yeah, like this. It just sounds so like old school Italian mafia.
It does. I feel like I hear the word Falco and I'm like, is that a character from like a Martin Scorsese crime film?
It does sound like, yeah, it's very Martin Scorsese. It absolutely does.
I feel like Joe Pesci's about to jump out at me.
Oh, and of course this guy is, this is, okay, so this guy is basically just going to be Joe Pesci.
Yeah, we've made the D&D Joe Pesci.
Undoubtedly the Joe Pesci of D&D. So Falco is a former criminal mercenary who after retirement, or maybe to kind of give him a bit more depth. He was a criminal mercenary who was caught, was incarcerated for years.
Ooh, I like this.
Was released on probation, and after just not being able to deal with being a law-abiding citizen, because it's nothing like anything he's ever been, broke his parole and just disappeared. And no one knew where he went, but he'd actually secretly run off to the desert and formed this town as a safe haven for criminals.
I like it. I like the idea that Falco isn't his real name either. That Falco is an alias that he made up when he went on the run.
Absolutely. Falco is Falco does not legally exist in any
No,
place. Yes. He has no identification, he has no records. It is just 100% an alias that he brought in. I'm seeing the picture that you're drawing there, Sarah, and the Beatles look amazing. I love it.
I was just unmuting myself to say that this village should be located in Akeem, which is one of the few kingdoms we haven't fully developed, but that is a desert kingdom.
Oh, heck yeah.
And what's interesting about that is that the magic of that system, of that kingdom, is heavily influenced by religion and faith.
Yes.
And so it's interesting to have this little pocket of a criminal organization, Oasis, in this highly, probably very lawful community or culture.
It's the thing that Falco knew.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that he knew, was that once he broke his parole, they were going to go searching for him, and when they go searching, they were going to look far and wide, but they weren't going to look right under their doorstep.
Mm.
And so that is where he ended up setting things up under his alias. I love it. And yeah, this is absolutely awesome. So, and also to whoever has just followed us, because I see that the number has gone up. It's still not the right number because it is actually 85 and not 83. But if you see underneath Fergus there, we are currently working our way towards 100 followers on Twitch. And if we get to that goal, we will release a special one-off episode of Homebrew Labs, which we're very excited about. So if you are watching and you are not yet following, go ahead and click that follow button, because we've got some really cool ideas that we want to do. And in order to do them, we need to support the community. So
that was Sykes McKenzie, by the way, who actually
Sykes
commented.
McKenzie.
In,
Sykes McKenzie. Well, wonderful. Thank you, Sykes McKenzie, for the follow on that one. And I see your comment, a big tavern running society from the shadows, 100%.
Exactly what we're making.
Yeah, this is it. And I love like the initial thoughts that we had of the Deadpool bar and Mos Eisley is basically what this all is. So we got some cool stuff here. We have Falco as this kind of central figure of the town, of the village, who I can't wait to introduce this NPC at some point. He's going to be freaking awesome. This also just kind of is going to work very well as a way of creating one-shots and things like that. And I know I'd spoken recently about potentially doing something with almost an anthology or episodic style game where people can just drop in and out as they please, because every single game would be technically a one-shot centered around one thing, and I feel like this could be it.
Yeah.
Just every single game is just literally a bounty or a mission for this criminal organization that anyone can do. But it does serve like a really good function story-wise. We can have a lot of fun with that. It was just really great. So we know we've got our central figure. We've got Falco, who kind of runs the tavern, and in turn also just runs the whole village in general. So let's kind of have a bit more of a look into this transportation hub and the beetles, because that's like a super cool idea and something that's really just unusual and wonderful. So I feel like it needs to have some kind of like information behind it. Like why beetles? Why would beetles be their choice of creature for this? And who is responsible for that side of things?
I imagine beetles would be one is that they can move probably quickly across the sand.
Indeed,
they're pretty armored, so they can protect things as well, and they can also burrow. So if there are tunnels underneath to protect from like sandstorms, and maybe there's an underground tunnel system that they can use to sneak out of the kingdom or across it.
Maybe, okay, interesting. So maybe then, like, upon Falco's fleeing from his parole and stumbling through the desert, maybe potentially this site, this area where the village now stands, was originally a nest for these beetles.
Ooh.
And so he kind of took shelter in there, and as he kind of started building his home and his life there, kind of made use of the beetles' natural way of living, of like, I like the idea that the beetles actually kind of create these little hovel sand dunes rather than burrowing. Like they actually kind of build the sand up around them, similar to like how crabs do.
Oh, yeah.
And so those are like, he used those and their kind of like labor force to build structures around them. So maybe like in his previous life as a criminal mercenary, Falco had also maybe dipped into being a ranger as well. Had a bit more of a connection to nature, and so was pretty good with creatures like this already. And that kind of led to the building of the town. Yeah. So I don't know about you guys. I
like. My idea was that Falco sort of stumbled upon this place, and maybe there was already like a beetle ranch here, and he's just kind of taking it over. But your idea of that this is like the natural nesting ground of these beetles, and he sort of just like built on top of that. I think that's a better idea.
I like it. I do like it.
Yeah.
So the town was built on top of the natural nesting grounds for the sand beetles.
Yeah.
And Papa, you
Did we lose Fallaize?
Oh no, did we lose?
He'll be back.
No, we did.
Oh no!
It's okay, we can vamp. We can vamp.
I'll just keep drawing. Can you see it?
Yeah, it looks really good. It does look very good.
I think I'm gonna try to draw on some of these lines just cause. Let's see. So if we have that. No, I was trying to. I liked that idea of it's like what do they build with, and they'd build with sand and mud. That would make the most sense. Did I?
Yep. They probably used their own like the beetles probably use like their own saliva or something to help build.
Yeah.
It's like a glue.
And it's like this tiered building. This is a really big tavern.
Sorry, my computer decided to just crash on me.
That's right.
Back in
Tech stuff happens. Especially on this show, it seems.
Yeah, can just completely crashed. I had to restart the whole thing. So where were we? Okay, so town was built on the natural nesting grounds of the sand beetles. Falco used beetles as a
So Western, I love it.
as a labor force in the construction of the village. And nice. So we've got a lot of our building blocks here. I feel like we want to have maybe another two NPCs for this particular village. One who runs the ranch side of things, and one who actually runs the transportation side of these things. So I'm guessing if we're doing a ranch, it's gonna be like gonna be like a I'd say like a farmer, but I feel like anyone who actually kind of lives in this particular village needs to have some kind of combat ability, as it's obviously a very dangerous place to live, being so centered around villages. So obviously, if it's going to be a ranch, probably looking at maybe a ranger or a druid, I guess.
A druid would be good. There's
A druid could be interesting.
Circle of the Land. There's, I believe, desert is one of them. Maybe.
That's true. Yeah, it could be a Circle of the Land desert druid. That could be quite interesting.
Who could turn into a
yeah. So maybe then let's have a look at I want to have a look at something because obviously there's quite a few things that can be natural to the desert. And I feel like what's the word for them? Can't think what the heck they're called now. Is it just like lizard folk? Is that
lizard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, lizard folk.
I feel for some reason I feel like that's the wrong word, but I don't think it is.
That's right.
Hold
So
on.
maybe yeah, lizard folk. Yeah, it's listed as lizard folk. So maybe then the druid is a lizard folk. So obviously reptilian creatures like that are usually quite comfortable in the desert. Cold-blooded creatures tend to do quite well there because they get their heat from the sun itself rather than from food.
Mm-hmm.
So could potentially have like
I like that idea. I like the idea that in the ranch there is just a big rock where the druid spends most, like, overlooking it, where the druid just spends most of their time kind of just lying there basking in the sun, looking over like the pen of these beetles.
the ranch is looked over by a lizard folk druid. Nice. And then let's give them a name. And this is where we go to another fantastic website, which is fantasynamegenerators.com.
Yeah. the two most versatile DM tools out there.
It absolutely is. The one downside to NPC generator can give you like a lot of like really cool descriptors and things like that for NPCs, but they don't have a huge list of names in their random generator.
No. I like as a lizard folk name Vith, Vith.
Vith,
yeah,
like it. So over by Vith, a lizard folk Circle of the Land desert druid. Now, one thing I will say, and one thing I really do love is blue dragons are native to deserts. And having something of a villainous nature, I'm wondering if maybe there is a resident in this village who is a blue dragon polymorphed into a humanoid shape.
ooh,
Something that most people who go there, they wouldn't know that that they were there.
yeah.
But yeah, that's I just love I love blue dragons. I love all dragons in D&D. But blue dragons are super
Dragons
cool
are
things.
the best.
Yeah. And one of the things is with blue dragons is they're actually one of the best dragons at flying. Most dragons are not actually good at flying, and tend not to like flying when they're fighting. That had an actual mechanical effect in previous editions of D&D because flying was a skill, and if you were to do certain maneuvers in the air, you would have to roll a fly check to see if you could pull them off, and certain dragons just would not have a good fly skill. Now in 5e, we don't have that. We just have fly speeds, and it doesn't make those monsters operate the way that they're supposed to in the lore of the world. But blue dragons were very good at flying because as they ruled over deserts, they would have a very large area that they would kind of watch over. So I feel like maybe the blue dragon is actually like almost like the warden of the town.
Well, I was about to say that maybe that maybe I've completely forgotten the name of our halfling because my mind. Falco, thank you. That maybe our man Falco has made a deal with this blue dragon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
He made a deal that if he gave over a portion of all of the money that came through this place over to the blue dragon would protect the village.
Basically watch over it.
Yeah.
That's I was thinking the exact same thing. So I do like that. And then so we need to just really give them a kind of humanoid personification. Because I feel like in the actual village, only Falco knows that he's actually a dragon.
Maybe
anyone else who visits there or resides there, they only see this creature in their humanoid form.
Maybe that
I think
she's a dragon.
We go. It's a human form. He's called himself. He's called himself Hugh.
He's called himself Hugh.
Can the drag? Can you guys hear me? Can the dragon?
Because nobody expects a simple Hugh on being a blue dragon.
No, it's very true. I was on that another line from Futurama. It was like, "You, sir, what's your name? Hugh Man, sir."
I was literally going to say his last name can be Man. I am Hugh Man.
So the village is secretly watched over and protected by what age of dragon? What should we say the age of the dragon is? Are we going?
I think we'd have to go
ancient or adult.
I don't think we go ancient.
No, I think we
go adult. I think we go. Well, adult dragons. They're like what? I want to say they're 100 onwards.
Let's see. Dragon age. Yeah, dragon age chart. Here we go. So here we go, dragon aging. Because there's actually the one thing that people might not realize from fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons is there are actually 12 different life stages for dragons, not 4. But we only see the 4 in 5e as wormlings, young, adult, and then ancient. But it actually expands well beyond that. You have wormlings, then you have very young dragons, then you have young dragons, then you have juvenile dragons, Then you have young adult dragons, then adult dragons, mature adult, old, very old, ancient, worm, and great worm. But an adult dragon is just over anything over between like 1 and 200 years. 1 and 200 years is an adult dragon.
Nice.
And to kind of give you people context of like how big a difference it is, an adult dragon is between 1 and 200 years, and an ancient dragon is over 800 years. So there's always quite a big range that they go through over the centuries.
I think we go. I think like 190, like towards the end of that scale.
Okay. No, so 190, which settles in quite comfortably at an adult dragon. 190-year-old adult blue dragon who stays polymorphed in a human guise.
Can it be a female blue dragon?
Guys, whenever he is interacting with other people.
Fallaize?
Guys, under the name
Feargus?
Hugh.
I don't think you guys can hear me.
Other people. Falco has made a deal with this dragon to watch over and protect the village in return for a sizable share of the money that comes through the village. So that's that's kind of like a nice little creature character that kind of gets to exist in this town as well. I really love this. I think this is really great. So oh my god, this looks so good, Sarah.
Yeah, no, I've just looked at it. It's
that's great. That's really we've got like the nice central tavern in the middle, the little sand dune style huts. I can hear
we
you
can
now.
Yeah.
We hadn't heard you for a while.
No, I know. I was kept suggesting that the dragon be a female.
Oh,
Okay.
That's a good idea.
I think my sound for Discord was trying to pick it up from the webcam, and so that's really obnoxious. So
Okay.
now we know why. Anyway, that was a suggestion I made like 15-20 minutes ago.
Fair enough. No, we can definitely do that. So let's change that out for a female name.
Scale is wrong. It's too far away.
So let's have a look on Fantasy Name Generator. And the name, it's kind of a bit punny. Not even really punny, just kind of a bit, I don't think what the word is, but the name Sabrina has come up. And of course, all dragons are natural sorcerers. And I have been watching the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix a little while back. So maybe we have the blue dragon actually be a full sorcerer as well.
Sabrina.
It's funny.
We have this Sabrina the Draconic Sorcerer, who is actually a dragon.
Well. Now we need to make the dragon a young dragon, so that it can be Sabrina the Teenage Dragon Witch.
The teenage dragon witch. Um,
No.
or we could do young
Yeah.
adult.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing to remember also about Onua is that dragons are also essentially considered myth. Most of them likely live in the northern parts of the continent. So having one down here, that's quite the story that would
Which,
have to take place.
indeed, well, it would still work just for the fact
Yeah.
that only one person in the world actually knows that they're there.
Yeah.
Because so that can still potentially work. But yeah, it's these things is like it's a very rare thing, and so actually kind of works in their favor. The fact that it is so unlikely to see a dragon that far south, that
Yeah.
because no one expects there to be a dragon, so no one questions questions Sabrina for what she is.
No, because Sabrina's just,
Yeah, she's she just walks around in her disguise the whole time, and only when there is actually no one around does she actually turn into a dragon form to kind of just circle the area and keep an eye out. And then always returns back in her human guise, not to not to draw suspicion to her. So, but yeah, if we I really just like that character.
yeah.
So Falco is in... Yeah. But I kind of feel like that is like a really cool and well-rounded well-rounded village there. Obviously, we'll go into off camera, we're going to go into a bit more detail on like the specifics of the tavern, onto the specifics of the ranch, and the backstory between all of these things. But that will all happen off camera and will be released when we do eventually get around to it. We will be releasing some Homebrew Labs magazines on the Wayfarers League store, which will have all of the content that we create for each season. So that will have like the full breakdown of this village with the details of the tavern, with the details of the ranch and the Beetle Transport Network, more of a history on Sabrina, more of a history on Falco, more of a history on Vith and how they all kind of came to be, and a bit more of kind of information like how the whole system works there. But that will all be available for purchase in the store once we finish putting together the magazines for this show. But unless you guys can think of anything else to really add in here, it kind of feels like that's a pretty kind of solid place for this to be.
I mean, I always like the idea that there's a house band that always plays in the tavern, but we can save that for...
we got the full Mos Eisley Cantina scene where there is a house band that is always playing there. I really like that as well. Or maybe not a house band, but like maybe a
just a single bard.
I was actually thinking more like an artificer's construct of something akin to a player piano.
Okay.
Have you guys ever
That
watched,
is...
seen Steam Powered Giraffe?
No, I have not seen Steam Powered
It's
Giraffe.
it's a band, and they do their makeup and everything to look like like robots, and their music
Amazing.
is really good. Like it's really fun, quirky music. They do a lot of steampunk shows and things, or they did. Hopefully do more. Yeah, they're crazy. The main guy has a really
Amazing.
good voice. Like, whoa. Sorry. Anyway.
No, it's cool. But I was thinking, like, yeah, like maybe this tavern just has a semi-sentient jukebox kind of
Yeah.
construct in there that plays music. Because if you're gonna have like a whole group of bards, I feel like we're adding too many living residents in the village. Like the fact that there are 3 permanent residents, kind of, I just love the fact that there's just 3 people that live there full time, and everyone else is just a criminal mercenary that are visiting or hiding out there.
The band could be like the band could all be artificer constructs. It could be like
like the freaking the Bear Jamboree from Disney.
Yeah, like
Country Bear Jamboree.
It's just all suits of armor that just play musical instruments, and they're really good at it.
I've been watching so many repeats. I've been watching a Goofy movie, and just thinking of there's a scene in that called Lester's Possum Park, and it's literally just that, like a really crappy animatronic show, which is it's such a random scene in the film, but it is really funny. Yeah, I like that. Maybe so maybe rather than constructs in like a artificer's construct, maybe it is like animated armors then.
Yeah.
There's a band of animated armors that play music.
Yeah.
I like it. I'll add that in as kind of like a final point on the tavern.
Yeah, because I'll need to come up with a suitably punny name for them.
Oh, of course.
They'll have to have a punny name.
So, there is a local. No, that's not the way to word it.
A local.
In-house.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is an in-house band that is made up of 4 sets of animated armor, which perform every evening in the tavern. Nice. So the only thing we've really got to do left is to name the village, which normally I throw out to the chat. I'm not sure who is still watching, but if you are still watching and you have an idea for a name for this village, please throw it up into the chat, and we'll see if we can find a name that we like for this place, because you guys always come up with better names than we do. But I actually have no idea how many people are still watching, because our current viewer count is showing as 2, and I'm guessing that might actually just be me and Fergus.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good chance.
Yeah.
Names. Well, if you think about it, the person that named the village would have been
Falco.
Yeah.
It would have been Falco, and I feel like maybe something to do with the actual Beatles.
Or maybe it would be really generic.
Or I feel like maybe trying to get the word nest.
Something really generic.
Well, I was just gonna call it something like Beetle Run.
The nest or the ranch. Yeah, beetle something.
And if we wanted to go punny, we could call it the nest stop. But I don't think I don't feel like Falco would be the kind of person to be punny.
No. Yeah, we could just go like. Yeah, it could just be like the ranch. Or the Oasis, even though it's not in one.
Even though it's not on an Oasis. The Oasis, the Oasis is good. We got the ranch, the Oasis, the Nest,
Beetle
and
Run
what
is
was it? You were
cool.
saying Beetle Run is quite cool. I do quite like Beetle Run. I actually feel like Beetle Run for me feels like the best one.
Yeah.
Beetle
Yeah.
Run.
Let's call it Beetle Run. So, our new town.
And maybe its nickname amongst
the
those
Kingdom
who
of
know could be something like the ranch, or so then it's kind of the
Yeah.
code name for it.
Absolutely. Beetle Run. AKA the ranch. Nice. Well, I feel like that's like a really solid settlement. And obviously we will flesh out some of the details and things like that off screen. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with what we've come up with here. I think it's really cool. It's going to lend itself to some interesting potential storylines in the world of Anua, and could loan itself to some really cool one shots, and also be used quite well in campaigns as well. So yeah, I feel pretty good about all that. So I think, without further ado, we should probably call it there for the evening.
Yep.
So for those who are watching, once again, please feel free to click that follow button, get us up to our goal of 100 followers so that we can put out our special one-off episode of Homebrew Labs. Also, we have just announced the first ever Wayfarers League Battle Royale tournament. And if you would like to sign up for that, then head on over to wayfarersleague.com and join our Discord server to get involved in that. There is going to be a lot of great things happening there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We will also be streaming that content here. But until our next adventure, farewell.